My name is Raymond Santiago. I'm back again trying to do some rhythms here, some beats, some techniques, some practices. There's going to be some a while of different techniques of practice. Okay, so it's steaming. I don't know if it's 80 or 90 degrees. You can probably see me shining from the sweat. It's pretty hot. The skins sound best at this weather, so that for the sound of the congas, that's great. For us, then we just have to endure. So what we're going to do is, first of all, we're going to start off with, let's start very simple, a single roll. Okay, a single roll. I hope everybody's ready. Okay, a single roll. Everybody figures when you're younger, you kind of like try to go real fast when you start, and then you realize I can't keep up with this speed. So the way to develop and to learn the single roll properly, that one way to learn it is that you start off slow. So you go. And the important thing is try to make both hands sound the same. Now for me it's a little challenge too, because I have one finger a little hurt from an accident. So I have to struggle a little bit with that same sound on both hands, but it's still not impossible. And for you that have maybe no damages in your hands, it's going to be much easier to get the same sound. Okay, so we're going to start doing the single roll because it's important that at least you can do a single roll. Here we go. And it's going to be this slow for a while. This is practicing, okay? Now, honestly, practicing to develop, it's a little boring. It's discipline, and it's an effort that you're making because you want to be able to go quick. You want to be able to play different rhythms and sound good. So you have to go through that beginning stage where it sounds like it's not what I want to learn, because we listen to this, say, oh, that's not helping me learn anything. But yet, this is that slow, and practicing that was helps you to do this speed. For example, it helps you to be, to accomplish that goal of getting to play faster. So practice with me. You'll see that I'll speed it up as we go. If this is as fast as you can go, let me show you more or less. If you can go, and that's as fast as you can go, then that's where you stop. Don't go any faster until you're able to manage it. That's really the way to develop the fastest. Stop where you can manage it and keep discipline in that same speed. So comfortably for me would be, it's very comfortable. I can probably play a long time. hand drum, there's your whole hand. Congas has a different playing from djembe, for example. Djembe would be hands a lot more further apart from the drum, and the conga technique is closer to the drum, and to be honestly, somewhere in between 3 to 6 inches is about as far from the drum that you'll play, because this is where these techniques come in. You make these different sounds. For example, the slap, see, from here to there, because it's about the wrist. The djembe, for example, is about the whole arm. So we're learning the techniques of conga and a little mixed with djembe eventually, because I play both. So, but because it is a conga, I want you to remember the technique for conga is very close to the drum. The technique for djembe, for example, there's a little djembe here. Let me grab it. It's a little, it might look like a toy, but you can play a djembe, for example. I just want you to see the difference between. So the hand is kind of like moving in this motion. It's kind of like pretty far from the drum, and the technique with the congas, as you see, the difference between the djembes that you're playing with your whole arm, with the conga, you're playing mainly with your wrist. And all these techniques are 3 to 6 inches from the drum. If you're right here, you go, well, how can you make a certain sound with a little bit of distance from the skin? Well, technique. So you see how close I was to the drum, and you hear the different sound? Because the technique with the conga is closer to the drum itself. Okay, so we're going to continue with this single beat, single roll, because I want you on your own, go as fast as you're able to. You might be able to do just, and you stay there. Continue practicing, you'll be doing it naturally. Okay, so those are single beats. Now, no matter how good you are, how long you've been playing, single beat will tire you out. In the long run, they'll say you gotta do a single beat for 3 minutes. Your arms will cramp up, your wrists will cramp up. So cramp up. So then, this is where the technique heel, heel, tip, tip helps a lot. We're going to try it now. Heel, heel, tip, tip. We've been doing heel, heel, tip, tip often. In any drum setting, it's done often because it's one of the main techniques. Okay, so we're going to do it. Heel, heel, tip, tip. Heel, heel, tip, tip. Try to relax. Practice. Slow it down. When you get a little tired, slow it down. Speed it up. You gotta have fun with it. Okay? We continue with the techniques. Another technique that's going to be important to practice. There's a magic way to learn how to play this drum fast, and that magic way is practice. That's the key word. If you practice, you're going to learn faster. You're going to develop faster. You're going to get quicker faster. You're going to learn, be able to play different rhythms faster. Okay? So another technique is 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Times on each side rotating. So then we keep adding to that. For example, 3 times. You guessed it, we're going to go 4 times. So this is kind of what's going to help with practice. This is part of practicing, part of loosening up the tendon in between the bone here. As the looser it gets, the faster you can actually play. And that technique is loosening up your tendon in the middle of the bone of your wrist. It's not just the muscle, it's also stretching the tendon, which is going to be important for speed and management of rhythms. Okay? So let's do the 4. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4 on one hand, 1, 2, 3, 4 on the other, and we're just rotating back and forth, and we kind of having fun with it because that. Slow it down. So, of course, you guessed it again. We're going to go to 5, and then we go back down 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so we're going to do it 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if that's too fast, I'll slow it down. Because when I started, I couldn't do it at that speed either. So I'm going to slow it down like if you've never played the drum, you'll do. Okay, we'll do 4. It kind of reminds me of the cowboy movies we used to watch, and when you hear the Indians playing that beat. If you can think of something that you can relate to, you can do a lot better. To give an example of that, once we finish this technique here, I'm going to do something to relate it to the speed bag of boxing. So. Here we go again, back to 4. back down. I'm going to go quick and I'm going to slow back down. Not so much that you're able to do it, but how long can you keep the beat? Consistently, constantly, with the same flow, same tempo, same sound. That's part of the practice for all of us. So we're going to go to 2. To the single roll that we started with, which is remember, I'm speeding it up very slowly. I just want to add to this single roll that your hand, so it doesn't get hurt. It's important that where your hands curve and bend is where the edge of the drum you're supposed to lay your hands on, and it helps with speed. Instead of it almost bounces off, and you're so relaxed that you do this. It helps with speed and managing the beat. Okay, so here we go. Single beat. Real slow. The slowest possible. So that's a good technique. I hope you follow me, because you're going to feel your hands getting loose and warmed up, and it's like you think you're ready for more, because that's what it does. Your muscles start wakening up certain muscles that you're not used to using, and they kind of want to do more. Okay, so the one of the techniques that I showed, which is called the heel, tip, is important to teach this part along with it, because then you'll see, oh, I can see how I can use that technique. For example, these are congas, and you can do a technique that mainly is like the mancha of the bongo, of the bongo. So, but this technique, which is the heel, tip, then you do it in one hand. If you're righty, then you got the bigger drum, or the tumbadora, and the conga on the side is the bongo, the bigger drum on the side. But this is what's important. You're learning this because look at what you could do if you eventually manage the heel tip. Now that is an easy beat, and it looks difficult because we see this technique, but it's the same rhythm as this is a single beat. We just break it up and it becomes. So that is kind of the amateur way of doing it. Then as you learn these techniques, that's what we learn, so we can do things kind of professionally or a little better, is it almost sounds like a cumbia. So what we'll do, I'm just trying to help you relate and associate what is this technique for besides just loosening up your wrist. Well, you use it for mancha. And a lot of times that's called a tic-tac of the clock, the reloj, and that's used for el martillo. It's also called like the hammer, and it's used for bongos mainly, but you can use it. You can use it for any drum. But it's important. It's okay. What is this technique for? Well, once I learn how to do it well, I can do this. As you continue learning and practicing, then this thing called magic, speed comes with it, and you're able to do. So you can do that. You can get to that speed in 2 or 3 months. It's not as difficult as you might think it is. When I first started, I thought it would take me 5 years to be able to do that. But if you practice, you'd be surprised what happens in months. Okay, so we're going to practice the technique of the 1-2 slap, 1-2 slap, and then the same beat, but there's going to be 1-2 palm, 1-2 bass. We do the palm to get the sound of the bass. So remember the sound of the slap, which I'm going to show another way to practice the slap, but this is a very helpful way to be able to get it right, which is because the last one is like an accent, right? And why I want to relate that to the speed back, because if you remember the sound of the speed back, it's the same sound and the same beat that you see that you're going to hear on the drum when you do this technique. So some of the young people that I've helped learn a little bit, I also help them relate to the speed back, because a lot of times they go to the gym and they hear that rhythm. Okay, so we'll do. I'm going to start slower. To get to that speed and a lot faster, but I'm just doing that to show you, oh wow, this is what it sounds like, this same beat when it's very fast. That's what it sounds like when it's very fast. It's just to expose you to that, but we go right back to the discipline, right back to the slow speed that makes you become actually a great player if you continue practicing. Not that I consider myself a great player, but you can become a great player. I'm just exposing you to the basics, very simple stuff, okay? We're going to change. We want that bass. So remember that sometimes we tilt the drum to get more sound out of it. So you kind of hug it with your legs. And this is the kind of drum that you embrace, okay? And try to find the joy in you, because when you play, you want to transmit joy. Because it goes along with the notes and the beat and rhythm, and it's about fiestas, it's celebration, and it's about culture, it's about food and dancing. So it's not just techniques. It's related to a facet and different dynamics of rhythms and cultures that all involve like Afro and Afro-Caribbean and sometimes funk. It's just amazing what comes out of a drum and how it contributes to a whole community being able to get together and have a good time, a very healthy and good, exciting time. And the dancing is good exercise. It's good for anybody that has diabetes, anybody that has high blood pressure. It is a very healthy instrument to learn so that you can become healthier. It's part of the benefits of learning how to play. So here we go. We're going to do the bass. Remember that and instead of the speed back doing all the work, your hands doing the work. That's how you become faster. Actually, it's a technique for speed. And every time I slow down, it's because I know some people it's going too fast. I slow it down so you can at least challenge yourself to try to keep up with me every time I go fast. And try to keep up with me every time I go fast, because that's when you go, oh wow, I can do that speed, and I'm able to keep it with him. You're watching, I'm guiding you, you go along with me. And here you are without realizing you're developing and you're learning a lot faster than you think, because hopefully, I'm teaching something that will help your health. Here we go. Slow. I know it would help. This is a very good technique to do. Why? Because it helps you with to go from one drum to another. It's a very good technique. It's the same 3 beats, but what we're doing is we're using these 3 beats and we're rotating from one hand to another, either slap or bass, so that we can continue learning. And if we do it with rhythm, it kind of sounds better, it feels better, and you can last longer. Have fun with it. Beginners, here we go. Okay, that was a technique. You practice it. We're definitely not done. I said we're going to do another technique for slaps, because most people that are trying to learn conga, they want to get the slap. Okay, so that slap, it is a little difficult. Very few people are going to get in the beginning stages. It's something you have to practice the technique to get the right sound. Yeah, and sometimes you'll get it one time and then you can't get it because you're looking for it. But the technique that I'm showing you will help you get that slap quicker, sooner, and to make the sound better, because you're trying to make the sound on both hands the same. And if you notice, sometimes my left wasn't sounding as good as my right, and I'm also going through the same process. I'm looking for that sound that sounds the same. We're all doing this together. But I'm going to do this very slow, because we got little ones, and we got even older people that maybe have never played, and maybe wanted to play, or even if you didn't want to play a drum, but you would like to learn at this moment, whatever it is. But I'll go slow because I want you to feel, oh, I can do it at that speed, and feel comfortable, and get all the worries out of your head. Here we go. Right, that was the one that I showed you for the slap. But this is the other technique for slap. It's constant hitting the looking for the sound. Like if I'm looking for a slap. Okay, I'm looking for a different kind of slap. Okay, this, you see, when you go down closer to the edge, you're going to hear the sound change. So many different sounds on one drum. For example, okay, this one is called muffled. Okay, then when you open your hand, open hand slap, close hand slap, open hand slap, close hand slap. It's a different sound. Then the muffle, you bring it down a little closer. It's almost like you hold the drum so that the sound doesn't come out. So it's called muffled. open hand. Okay, so you see, muffle. I threw three things at you to challenge you a little bit. The other one's a slow process, but I just did this. We gotta have a little fun, make it challenging. So, muffled. What's the technique for the slap besides the one I taught you? It's constantly looking for that slap. When you get a little tired of looking for that slap, and you do it with technique so that it won't hurt you. If you just slap it with just power and strength, and you're kind of beating the drum, you're hurting your hands eventually. But if you do it with technique, you know, you can see that I'm not hitting it very hard to get a slap. Okay? So that technique and being able to get it naturally that way, it comes with practice. So remember, I stuck in this little muffled. It's kind of a closed hand muffled. And it's like you're holding the skin down. You're pressing down on it and you're not letting it bounce. That's the muffled sound of the conga. And a lot of times when they do solo, you know, that muffled sound is part of the different sound to make combinations and do soloings and sometimes just to make, you know, funky beats. You're playing funk, you give it these different sounds because it gives it some flavor, a little bit of sofrito, sazón, all that good stuff, all that criollo feeling that we get. Okay, and so you think about the dancer, you think if you're playing with a group, then you kind of collaborate with everyone. The atmosphere's got to suit wherever you're playing and whomever you're playing with and the kind of music and all that is important. But right now, we're learning the very basic, simple stuff. Muffled.